The first weeks of college football rarely feature marquee games, but that all changes in week 3 as conference matchups take center stage. The SEC showcases two major rivalries this week: Georgia at Tennessee and Florida at LSU. The ACC also offers a pivotal matchup as Clemson visits Georgia Tech. Beyond those games, non-conference play is still providing some intrigue. Texas A&M heads to Notre Dame, and upstart South Florida is taking on Miami to give the weekend another set of top 25 clashes. With several ranked teams on the road, week 3 promises to bring new twists to this 2025 season. Hey there, welcome everybody to the week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the week 2 edition of NFL Friday. A lot of things happening in the sports world. We do want to take a moment. Due to time constraints, we cannot do a full-on tribute to these individuals, but we had a couple of major passings in the sports world since the NFL show last Friday night. Over the weekend, we did lose a couple of pioneers in the sports world. In the NHL, famed goaltender from the Montreal Canadiens of the 60s and 70s, I should say, Ken Dryden. Ken Dryden passed away last week. 6-time Stanley Cup champion. One of the great goaltenders of all time. And he passed away. MF notified us of his passing as soon as we went off the air on the NFL last week. One of the all-time greats, inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1983. His first year of eligibility, and was the most valuable player of the 1971 Stanley Cup playoffs, won a Calder Trophy, five-time Vezina Trophy winner, 6-time Stanley Cup champion, was in 6 All-Star games, selected to the NHL first All-Star team 5 times. 1972 was the second All-Star, was on the NHL second All-Star team, and was named as one of the league's 100 greatest players in 2017. And most importantly, was a 6-time Stanley Cup champion in 1971, 73, 76, and then won 3 in a row, 77, 78, and 79. Very rough stretch because it was against our respective teams. 77 and 78 came against Michael Bullock's Boston Bruins, and in 1979 it was against my and MF's New York Rangers for that. So Ken Dryden, one of the all-time greats of the Montreal Canadiens, and passed away late last Friday night. And cancer claimed his life. He was 78 years old. Cancer sucks. That's all there is to say on that. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Dryden family, and we definitely say thank you to Ken Dryden for all the memories and inspiration, and for being Ken Dryden and being one of the greats to ever play the game of hockey. He was a dynamo, man. He really was. And then the other passing from the world of baseball, one of the great managers of all time, Davey Johnson. He passed away. He was 82 years old. He actually was a player before he became a manager. He played for the Baltimore Orioles from 1965 to 1972. was an Atlanta Brave from 1973 to 1975. He played baseball in Japan with the Yomiuri Giants from 75 to 76. And then 77 to 78 with the Philadelphia Phillies. And then with the Chicago Cubs in 1978. He was a manager of 5 different teams. He managed 5 different teams. The New York Mets from 1984 to 1990. The Cincinnati Reds from 1993 to 1995. The Baltimore Orioles from 1996 to 1997. The Los Angeles Dodgers from 1999 to 2000. And with the Washington Nationals from 2011 to 2013. He won 2 world. He was a 4-time All-Star from 1968, 3 years in a row, 68, 69, and 70, and then again in 73. Overall, a 3-time World Series champion. He won 2 as a player with the Baltimore Orioles in 1966 and 1970, and the other came as the manager of the New York Mets in 1986. That incredible team they had, the greatest Met team of all time, defeating the Red Sox in one of the greatest World Series of all time. 3 Gold Glove awards. He actually won 3 Gold Gloves as a player from 1969, 70, and 71. A 2-time Manager of the Year winner with the Baltimore Orioles in 1997 and with the Washington Nationals in 2012, and was inducted into the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame and the New York Mets Hall of Fame, and was actually the manager for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic in 2009 when they won the bronze medal. Was also the manager of the 2008 Olympic team that won the bronze medal in Beijing, and led the U.S. team to the Baseball World Cup in 2007 in Tianmu. So this show tonight dedicated to the memories of both Ken Dryden and Davey Johnson. Our thoughts and prayers are with their respective families and all of their teammates and friends and fans and everybody who were blessed to know them, work with them, and the whole nine. So this show is for you, gentlemen. So to Ken Dryden and Davey Johnson, we simply say thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and also thank you for being Ken Dryden and for being Davey Johnson. This one's for you. And with that being said, it's hard to move on, but we have to move on. And I know they deserve full-on tributes, but considering we have a whole ton of games to get through, we due to time constraints, we can't give them formal tributes. But I thought I would take a few minutes to at least acknowledge both of their passings and acknowledge their respective accomplishments. So with that being said, let's dive right on into the slate for week number 3 of this college football season. And we started off with a game that will take place tomorrow night. Yes, we have a Friday night game. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. over on the Big Ten Network. The number 22 Indiana Hoosiers will be at home against their cross-state rivals, the Indiana State Sycamores. Big Ten Network will have it. It'll be Lisa Byington and Jared Thomas on the call. I do not have a spread. And obviously, we all know why. Indiana's got to be a massive favorite. So
48 and
a wobbly win.
a half.
What's that?
48 and a half is the spread.
48 and a half.
Thank you. TheScore.com for providing that.
Absolutely. And you too, MF. Okay, here we go. After a wobbly win over Old Dominion, Indiana put together a more complete performance in a rout of Kennesaw State. Indiana should have little issue dispatching its FCS visitors tomorrow night. Indiana rolls in this one. I got them winning big. I got them winning 45-7. Not much more to say. MF, the Battle of Indiana, number 22 Indiana, at home against Indiana State in a rare Friday night game here.
Yeah, rare Friday night game. Indiana should win this one. I think it would have been more compelling if it would have been like Indiana versus Indiana State in college basketball Now, that might be an interesting matchup, but yeah, for this game, no, I'm not going to say much about it. I got Indiana winning and nothing more to say. So, Florio, let's go.
And we move on now to the Saturday slate. We start with 12 noon games, and we started off with big noon Saturday on Fox. The number 4 Oregon Ducks on the road against the Northwestern Wildcats from Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium in Evanston, Illinois. Big noon Saturday on Fox. You already know who's working this. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. And Oregon opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. MF, our dear friend Eric Carrier, his team off to a hot start, and I reckon it'll stay hot come Saturday.
It should stay hot. I believe Oregon should easily win this one pretty comfortably going away. So, yeah, I got Oregon winning. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that the lakefront setting in their temporary stadium is very nice. It's very, very beautiful, but that's the only thing of encouragement that I can offer for Northwestern in this matchup, because this is going to be it's going to be a smash. There's no doubt about it. Oregon's going to smash Northwestern, no doubt. Oregon should win this one rather handily. 46-10 is my final on that one. So, with that being said, we move on to our next 12 noon game, and it features the number 12, and this is one of the games of the week right here. The now number 12 Clemson Tigers on the road against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets from Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field in Atlanta, Georgia. And you can find this game over on ESPN. Bob Wischusen, Louis Riddick, and Chris Budden. They will be on the call. And Clemson opening up as only a 3-point favorite. It's only 3 for Clemson against Georgia Tech. So I don't know what else there is. I'll tell you what. This is one of the big ones here. This is one of the big games of the week here. And 2 weeks into the season, Clemson's high-powered offense has been anything but that. In short, this is not a comfortable trip to Atlanta. Now, of course, I'm still going to go with them to win. I'm going to take a chance and say that Clemson will win, but it's not going to be an easy win. It's going to be one of those hard-fought wins. It's going to be another one of those escape wins. I got them winning this game 27-20, but in all honesty, Clemson should be on upset alert. This is beyond a trap game for Clemson. Coming up just short against LSU. And I don't know what in the world that was against Troy last week. Falling behind 16-0. I mean, yeah, you came back and won. Great, but they were lucky to win that game. Troy very easily could have pulled the upset there. They very easily could have. But they found a way to win. Credit them. But Georgia Tech's going to give them major fits. But I think Clemson will do just enough to sneak this one out. So, like I said, 27-20. I got Clemson over Georgia Tech. MF, I mean, a lot of ballyhoo, a lot of hoopla about Clemson this year, saying that they were back in the national title picture. They came up short against LSU and barely got by Troy. They should have ran them boys out.
Yeah, honestly, this might have been one of those theories that I would like to say is that I think Clemson took Troy lightly, and that's why they kind of, they punched them in the mouth. But the thing is that Clemson responded. They got punched in the mouth, and they kind of were like, oh, what? Okay. And they came back and they won it. But like you said, they, Would I be surprised on the upset alert? No, because I definitely would sound the alarm on an upset alert. But I would say that I do believe Clemson will get the job done. They should win this. But would I be stunned if Georgia Tech pulls the upset? No, I would not. So, Florio, it's
Me
yours.
neither. Yeah, me neither. All right, moving on to our next 12 noon matchup here, and it will feature the now number 13 Oklahoma Sooners on the road against the Temple Owls, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. And you can find this game over on ESPN2. It'll be Roy Philpott and Sam Acho. They will be on the call for that one. Oklahoma opening up as a 22.5-point favorite. MF, after a dismal season last year for them, I gotta ask them, is Oklahoma fully back?
I'm not going to say they're all the way back, but I will say this. They're a lot better than they were about a year ago. Look, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they easily handled Michigan. No, they did not. Michigan hung tough. It was just, at the end of the game, they got one extra score that kind of extended the lead, and the outcome was that Oklahoma won, but this was not a dominant performance. Let's be by no stretch of the imagination. I mean, they won the game, good for them, and they definitely earned the victory. They beat Michigan, there's no doubt. They should beat Temple. That should be an easy win for them. And then once they get into the SEC schedule, we'll see how it plays out. But I think the real test is going to be if they're truly back or not is when they get into Red River, because we all know Red River is where it's a make or break for any team. So nothing more to say, Florio. I got Oklahoma winning, and they should win this by at least 3 touchdowns.
Agreed. I will give Temple credit, though, because Temple, but then again, Temple is 2-0, but who did they beat? Temple bowled. They bowled over UMass and Howard. Yeah, that's right, UMass and Howard. That's who Temple bowled over. They bowled over UMass and Howard to open the season. And playing at home is better than traveling to Norman. Still, it would be shocking if the Owls managed to slow Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer. At least 3 scores. You know what? MF, I see your 3 scores, and I'm going to raise you 4. I say they win by 4 scores and a little more. 42 to 13. I have Oklahoma all over Temple at the link. Next up, here we go. Here's a good one here. Here's a good matchup here. Sleeper matchup here. The now number 19 Alabama Crimson Tide back at home at Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, and they are welcoming the Wisconsin Badgers to town. This game on ABC, the voice of Monday Night Raw, Mr. Joe Tessitore, along with Jesse Palmer and Katie George. They will have the call. Alabama, a 3-touchdown favorite. Alabama opening up as a 21-point favorite. Alabama took out its post-Florida State frustration last week, laying a 73-0 beatdown on Louisiana Monroe. The game with Wisconsin shouldn't be close either, barring a meltdown from the Crimson Tide defense. Maybe Wisconsin gives them a game early, but I think Bama will ultimately flex the muscle, and they should win comfortably against Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin's 2-0, but I'm sure they've had a couple of weak wins. So I got Alabama winning this one rather comfortably. 38-14, Alabama over Wisconsin. MF, I'll say it like this. In years past, this would have been a potential game of the week. Not this time. Bama, a 3-touchdown favorite.
Yeah, Wisconsin's kind of on a rebuild. Bama's on a rebuild. And Kevin DeBoer, I mean, the hot seat got a little hot for him when they lost to Florida State and got embarrassed the way they did. So this will quell the people that want them fired for now. And I think they should get another opportunity when they should beat Wisconsin next week. So this Saturday. So yeah, I'm with you on this one. Wisconsin. I don't think it's going to be much of a game here. So Bama wins. Florio go.
Okay, and we have one last 12 noon game, and MF, here you go. It's your now number 23 Michigan Wolverines back at home at the Big House, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, and they are hosting the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Big Ten Network is where you can find this matchup, and it'll be Jeff Levering and former Michigan football player Jake Butt. Jake Butt returns home to Ann Arbor along with Jeff Levering for this game. And Michigan opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. MF, there's nothing left to say except for Michigan, after what happened in Norman last week, get right game for the Wolverines.
Yeah, absolutely get right. And this should be an easy win for Michigan. I think it's just they know they let one get away in Norman. Even though they did play good, they just didn't play the Michigan style, the Michigan way, and it just kind of cost them that game. So they're looking for a bounce back. They're looking for redemption. We know that. And I think when this is all said and done, I think the key word is we've been redeemed, as you would say. So that's how I feel. I feel like that's exactly how it's going to play out. Michigan will win. They will get they'll get that redeem card back, and then we'll see what happens the next game out. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
That whole redeem thing comes from Wayne Brady and Let's Make a Deal when they do their Zonk Redemption.
Let's make a deal. Yep.
And when the contestant, when the trader redeems themselves from the zonk they got on their previous show, Wayne always lets out, "You've been redeemed." Yes, he does. So, by the way, new season, September 22nd on CBS. So they're back for another year. Folks.
Can't wait.
Me neither. Absolutely. All right. So that takes care of the 12 noon games. And we move on to the very rare 12:45 kickoff. And looky here. Look who's back in the top 25. We got the now number 24 Auburn Tigers back in the top 25. Auburn will be at home at Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn, and they're going to be welcoming the Jaguars of South Alabama. And you can find this game over on the SEC Network. Taylor Zarzar, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang will be on the call for that. And Auburn opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. And I forgot to mention, when it comes to the Michigan game, Michigan coach Sharon Moore now serving a 2-week suspension. And in this matchup, the Wolverines will likely win comfortably. Pittsburgh limited Central Michigan to 209 total yards in a 45-17 win last week. And I got Michigan rolling over Central Michigan. I forgot to mention it. 41-10. 41-10. Michigan all over Central Michigan. Now let's get into South Alabama and Auburn here. As a 4-game gauntlet peaks over the horizon, Auburn has a final tune-up game. South Alabama hung with Tulane before dropping a tight finish last week, but Auburn's rushing attack is built to control this game. I got Auburn, and I got them winning comfortably, 42-17. Auburn over South Alabama. MF, Auburn back in the top 25. They got South Alabama coming in. They should win this one going away. But as I mentioned, they do have a big, a tough murderer's row schedule coming up. I'll get that in just a moment. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Auburn's going to win as well, and this should be a pretty easy victory for them. Because this is the last non-conference game, because then they got to go through that gauntlet known as the SEC behind that. So, enjoy this moment, Auburn, because who knows how you're going to play, how you're going to go after this, because like Anthony says, it's a gauntlet. It does not get easy at all. I mean, you're talking
I
about
got it.
some of the heavy hitters in the SEC that they got to deal with coming up. So we'll see. But yeah, Auburn should win. Florio, go.
Here's the tough 4-game stretch they got coming up. Next week, they got to go to Oklahoma, and then they got to go to Texas A&M, and then they go home, but they got to host Georgia and Missouri. Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia, Missouri. Good luck, Auburn.
Yeah.
So that's the 4 games. That's the 4-game stretch. If anybody was wondering. So, all right. A 1:00 kickoff here now. Very rare we get a 1:00 kickoff, but we got one here. And speaking of Missouri, they're up next. The number 25 Missouri Tigers. They're at home at the Memorial Stadium / Forrott Field in Columbia, Missouri. And they're going to be welcoming the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. And this game will be over on, this is that SEC Network Plus, I do believe. So, unfortunately, I do not have the announcers for this matchup, but I would reckon it's got to be. Oh, I got it right here. I'm sorry. It's right here. Jay Alter and Rocky Boyman, and it's SEC Network Plus / ESPN Plus. And Missouri opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. So, not much more to add on to that. Missouri is a heavy favorite, unsurprisingly. Louisiana has thrown for a dismal 3.5 yards per attempt, and Missouri is a lot better than Rice and McNeese. Missouri rolls 42-10. Not much more to say. MF, Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri. There's really not much for us to add on this one, so let's just get into the 330s, and I think we start with a Big Ten team, the number 2 in the nation, if memory serves me right.
Yes, we do. Would you believe, MF? Usually we get a good amount of 330 games. Would you believe we only have 3 in the top 25? Just 3? Unreal. Yeah. And we started off with the number
normally,
2.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say normally top 25 games. We always have a lot at 12, a lot at 330, and then I think it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock is normally the money for the primetime games. 7 too, yeah.
But only 3.
But 330 games. What the heck?
Yeah. I think it's because a lot of them are unranked, obviously. So, anyways, we have the number 2 Penn State Nittany Lions once again at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley, and they're going to be hosting the Villanova Wildcats. You can find this game over on Fox Sports 1, FS1. We got Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich on the call. No spread, but you got to imagine Penn State is obviously a massive favorite, and why not, MF? Look what they've done in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. But the problem is with Penn State is that they really haven't had that competition yet. They have not been war tested. They're not like what Michigan had, where they had a couple of heavy hitters. They're not like Ohio State when they had Texas out of the gate. There's just not been that kind of a thing, and it's just been it's kind of been a very interesting start. So Penn State should win. Yes, there is no spread. I think Vegas realizes there's no point in putting a prediction on that one. So nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
Before I give you my thoughts, you say Penn State hasn't been tested. Well, guess what? They're going to get tested. Not next week, because next week they've got a bye. The following week, September 27th, Number 4, Oregon's coming to town.
That's gonna be fun. That's when the real fun begins for me. And as a matter of fact, me and Michael Bullock are actually doing that game. We're working with the Big Ten, and yeah, me and Bullock might be working that Oregon Penn State game.
It is Big Ten. I see the kickoff time listed as 7:30, so it's got to be the Big Ten Saturday night on NBC. It's got to be. We'll address that in a couple weeks, but as far as my thoughts on Penn State, I mean, what else is there to say? Penn State will complete its soft non-conference slate with a third blowout win, then begin preparing for the showdown with Oregon on September 27th. Another easy one for Penn State, 45-7. Penn State all over Villanova. Villanova's a basketball school, not a football school, folks. So not much more to say on that. Oh, here we go. It's the main event. It's the game of the week right here. 3:30 on ABC. The number 6 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs squaring off against the number 15 Tennessee Volunteers, Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. I know we're used to seeing these guys at night, but we're getting them in the afternoon. How about this? Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe, they will have this game. And Georgia opening up as a 4-point favorite. So here we go, the main event. Georgia and Tennessee both bring inexperienced quarterbacks into their SEC opener in Knoxville. Gunnar Stockton has a slight edge over Joey Aguilar in SEC play because he played in place of Carson Beck toward the end of last season. Aguilar has put up the better numbers in the first 2 weeks of 2025 with 247 and 288 passing yards in 2 wins. Tennessee has been more explosive, but that will always be the case with Coach Josh Heupel's system. Georgia's defense held both of its opponents to single-digit point totals, while the Vols allowed 43 points. Georgia doesn't have a massive edge in this top 15 battle, but Gunnar Stockton knows how to handle an SEC environment, and its defense is still as strong as ever. The over-under 50.5 might turn out to be the best bet because of how Georgia's defense opened the season. For the spread, Georgia is a solid bet because Stockton is a solid complement to a strong defensive unit. Tough one to call, honestly. I mean, it could go either way. It really can. But, in all honesty, Tennessee has lost 8 straight to Georgia, and each of them by at least two touchdowns. Although this year's meeting, I believe, will be closer, the Bulldogs' defense remains the game's top unit. Still, a Volunteers upset would change the SEC landscape. Georgia ekes it out. My final score, 24-19. Georgia steals one in Knoxville, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee pulls the upset. They're capable. I mean, look what they did to Bama a few years ago. And in one of the greatest stampede moments of all time, a moment that has lived rent-free in MF's head for the last 3 or so years. So, but anyways, Tennessee will give a major fits, but I think Georgia will just eke it out here. So 24-19. I got Georgia winning over Tennessee. MF, Georgia, Tennessee, Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Chris and Herbie on the call. Game of the week, the main event right here.
Yeah, I know. This is the big one. This is going to be a hell of a game, no doubt about it. I'm going to give it to Georgia. I think Georgia's going to win it. It's going to be a close game. Would I be shocked if Tennessee wins it? No, not at all. Oh, by the way, for you TXN viewers that's wondering, this will be Jake Turner and Austin Slokey. They are now officially the new crew for our TXN. They will be exclusively for the SEC. Jake Turner representing Tennessee. Austin Slokey is a fan of Oklahoma. So they will be working those games from now on. Yes, we are starting. We're getting more of a footprint into the Saturday slate. Obviously, there is one other big announcement. I'll come with that in a little bit. But and Anthony might know where I'm going to be going with that next announcement. But I'll let you guys know soon enough. But yeah, so just it's not every week. Just certain games that we feel that are warranted, we'll do it. Like I said, just SEC. We're gonna have a footprint on the Big Ten. We're gonna have a footprint on the SEC, and there's also one other coming up, and I'll let you guys know what that's gonna be. So, Anthony, it is yours.
You got me intrigued, MF. You got me intrigued. I love it. Oh man. All right. We have one other 3:30 matchup, and it'll feature the number 21 Texas Tech Red Raiders once again at home at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, welcoming the Oregon State Beavers. You can find this game over on Fox, and it'll be Tim Brando, and Devin Gardner, and Josh Sims on the call, and Texas Tech opening up as a 23.5-point favorite. MF, Texas Tech 2-0 and at number 21. Here's another one of the big surprises of this early season.
Yeah, and they've been playing really well. I mean, I do believe that they'll get this win here. So give me Texas Tech to win. Anthony, it's yours.
Absolutely. It's T-Tech. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, not through 2 weeks, Oregon State has surrendered an ugly 6.2 yards a snap, which is ranked 113th nationally. Texas Tech has played an FCS school and Kent State, so Oregon State is a step up in competition. Still, the Red Raiders are 5th in the country at 8.6 yards a play. Good luck, Beebs. No doubt about it. So Texas Tech going to roll in this one. 47-21, Texas Tech all over Oregon State. We move on here to a 4 o'clock kickoff. The number 14 Iowa State Cyclones on the road against the Arkansas State Red Wolves from Centennial Bank Stadium. Not sure where in Arkansas that is, but it's because we've never called. I don't think we've ever called Arkansas State before, but alas, here we are.
The first time.
Congratulations, Arkansas State! You made the show. How cool is that? So good for you guys. But I just wanted to check it real quick. It's in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Centennial Bank Stadium is in Jonesboro, Arkansas. For those of you wondering. So, but this is going to be the biggest. This might be the biggest game in that stadium history yet. You're welcoming the number 14 Iowa State Cyclones to town. ESPN2 is where you'll find this game, and you're going to have Mike Monaco, Kirk Morrison, and Dawn Davenport on the call. And Iowa State opening up as a 21-point favorite. After emotional wins against Kansas State and Iowa, it would be understandable if Iowa State has a slow start on the road against a Group of 5 school. Eventually, though, the Cyclones' talent figures to take control of this game. So I got Iowa State winning this one 38-14. Not much more to say. MF, we talked about Texas Tech. Here's another one that's been just as big of a surprise. Iowa State starting 3-0 and at number 14. Gritty wins over K-State in Ireland, winning the Battle of Iowa against Iowa last week. And now they have somewhat of a cupcake here going to Arkansas State.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I got Iowa State winning this one as well. I kind of feel like they're gonna. This is not. It's never easy, but I do believe that this should be a win enough. So nothing more to say, Anthony. Let's just move on.
We have a 4:15 kickoff here, and this will be over on the SEC network. The now number 7 Texas Longhorns. They're once again at home at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, and they're going to be welcoming the Miners of UTEP. That's the University of Texas El Paso. SEC Network, Dave Neal and Fozzie Whitaker on the call. Texas opening up as a 40.5 point favorite. Well, MF, here's another week for Texas to get out some of that Ohio State frustration from a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely, and you said it. I think this is going to be that kind of a game. So give me Texas to win and win going away. They actually, everybody looked great last week. Arch Manning looked like he definitely rode the ship. He had one bad game, definitely had a great bounce back, and I believe he will have yet another bounce back here. So yeah, you're right. Texas wins. Florio, go.
Absolutely. Expect no drama when the Longhorns host UTEP, other than the inevitable circus that follows Arch Manning, of course. The Miners have ceded at least 8.2 yards a pass attempt in both of their games to date. Yeah, Texas rolls. 48-14, Texas all over UTEP. Here comes another one of our games of the week. I'm going to go as far as to call this the number 3 game of the week right here. And you want to talk about a sleeper game, a game that many felt was going to be a meh game, but oh no, this has potential to be something really special here. Really good. 4:30. This will be a 4:30 kickoff on the CW. We have the number 5 Miami Hurricanes, the U, once again at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and they're going to be welcoming maybe the biggest surprise of this early college football season, the now number 18 South Florida Bulls. The game's on the CW, and it's Tom Brenneman. Tom Brenneman and Will Blackman will be on the call. Miami opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. Whoa. Okay. This right here, this is a sleeper game if there ever was one. I mean, one critical piece of South Florida's victories over Boise State and Florida is a run defense that has yielded only 3.7 yards a carry. Continuing that success opposite Miami's offensive line will be a major challenge, even though South Florida looks like a serious storm. With all due respect, I do believe Miami should be on somewhat of an upset alert after what South Florida, when they smashed Boise State in the very first game of the season 2 weeks ago, and then going into Gainesville, Florida, into the swamp of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and stealing one against the Florida Gators. If you're a Miami fan, MF, do not take this South Florida team lightly. Do not. This team is, I believe, has the potential to be a real deal. I think Miami will win, but it's not going to be a comfortable win. South Florida is going to give them major fits. There is no doubt about it in my mind. After what I've seen these over the first 2 weeks, I got to say it. I'm high on these guys. I'm high on South Florida. This is one of those little engine that could teams here. You know how much I love those, a la Boise State years ago. Mm-hmm. And this is that team here once again. Miami will win, but South Florida, boy howdy, they are going to give them one hell of a fight. It'll be close going into the fourth quarter. It'll be close going into the fourth quarter, but I think Miami will add an extra score to pull away. So give me Miami to win. My final score, 34-24. Miami defeats a very game South Florida team. So not much more to say. MF, Miami Hurricanes, number 5, expected. South Florida at number 18, unexpected. They smashed Boise. They stole one in Florida. Holy hell, if they steal one at the Hard Rock. Whoa, if that happens.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people in Miami, it's kind of looking around. They're like, this was supposed, on this paper, a lot of people thought this was going to be an easy victory for Miami. Everybody thought this was like when the schedule makers made this game, they're like, they were trying to give them like as much of an easy victory more than anything else. And all of a sudden you see that matchup and you're like, whoa, what is this? So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I got Miami winning. But like you said, this is going to be close. This is going to be a dogfight, no doubt about it. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Okay, and now we move on to the primetime games now. We got 3 games in the 7 o'clock window, and we started off with the number 1 team in all the land, your reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champions, the number 1 team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, once again at home in the Horseshoe, Ohio Stadium in Columbus, and they're welcoming the Bobcats of Ohio. And you can find this game exclusively on Peacock, and it'll be Paul Burmeister and Chris Sims on the call. Ohio State opening up as a 28.5-point favorite. Nothing more to say except MF should be another easy one for the champs.
Should be another easy one for Ohio State. They had that one game where, even though they won, they weren't really spectacular. Then they had an easy victory last week. They should have another easy one now with Ohio. So yeah, I think Ohio State should win this one and win this one going away. So nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
Absolutely. It's Ohio State. I honestly don't know what else there is to say on it, except honestly, the most interesting and intriguing part of this matchup is these in-state programs, MF. They've only played 7 times, and 4 of them occurred from the years 1899 to 1902. Yeah. On the field, it will not be interesting for long. Ohio State is going to absolutely smash Ohio. 56-7, Ohio State all over Ohio. Moving on to our next 7 o'clock matchup, we have the number 9. How about this? The now number 9, Illinois fighting Illini. And they will be back at home at their Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. And they will be welcoming the Broncos of Western Michigan. And this game can be seen over on Fox Sports 1 with Noah Reed and Robert Smith. And Illinois opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. Illinois just put together a sensational day on defense to hammer Duke. If the Illini play anything close to that level on Saturday, they will roll Western Michigan. The primary goal really is staying healthy as a trip to Indiana looms next week. So that's another one of our games of the week next week, Illinois and Indiana. So talk about that next week. But for right now, Illinois, they should roll. Easy win over Western Michigan, 42-13. MF, Illinois football, number 9? Wow.
Yeah, they're surprising. They're one of the surprise teams right now, but they're playing really good. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I got Illinois winning and winning pretty comfortably. So Anthony, it's yours.
Our final 7 o'clock game over on ESPN. The number 17, Ole Miss Rebels, at home at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, and they are welcoming the Arkansas Razorbacks to town. Oh, good one. Another good one here. Much better than that dud slate of games we had a week ago. We got a much better slate this week. ESPN is where you can find this game. And it will be Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Taylor McGregor. They will be on the call. Ole Miss opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. So MF, number 17, Ole Miss, welcoming a game Arkansas team to Oxford for an SEC on ESPN Saturday night matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup to say the very least. Any other year, if Arkansas would have been a little better, I would actually be willing enough to go for the upset. But I think Ole Miss is going to figure it out. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, but I think Ole Miss is going to get that one extra score in the fourth that's going to kind of give them the opening that they needed to win it. So I got 27-17 Ole Miss over to Arkansas. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, Arkansas has blasted FCS and G5 opponents behind dual threat quarterback Taylon Green, who's accounted for 11 touchdowns. If the Hogs successfully use his mobility, that can change the game. Ole Miss, however, is the favorite due to its perceived talent edge and home field advantage. Low-key sleeper game of the week, but I got Ole Miss winning this one. And I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I'm going to say 34-28. Ole Miss holds off a game Arkansas team on Saturday night. We have we move on now to two 7:30 kickoffs, and needless to say, both of these are big games. Mm-hmm. Starting with the Saturday night game of the week on ABC, the number 3 LSU Tigers at home against the Florida Gators. Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge. Now, Saturday night on ABC, you're thinking Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. No, they're calling the Georgia-Tennessee game earlier in the day. So it's going to be Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath. They will have this game. LSU opening up as a 7-point favorite. They're a touchdown favorite against Florida. So, needless to say, if Florida didn't lose to South Florida, I could have gone as far as to call this the game of the week. But it's still one of the big games of the week. There is a danger in overloaded roster. Remember, the Gators beat LSU last year, despite no hesitation in picking a strong Tiger team. This is going to be another good game, another decent scoring game, but I got to go with LSU. I think LSU wins this one. My final score here is going to be 30-23, LSU over Florida. And I do have some breaking news from the NFL. The Green Bay Packers have defeated the Washington Commanders by a final score of 27-18. Green Bay is 2-0. Washington is 1-1. And we'll have a recap of that game tomorrow night on NFL Friday. But for right now, 27-18, Green Bay defeats Washington tonight on Thursday Night Football at Lambeau. But as far as this game is concerned here, LSU squeaks by Florida 30-23. ABC Saturday night game of the week. Not much more to say. MF, Florida, and LSU. If Florida didn't lose to South Florida, this easily would have been the game of the week right here.
Yeah, this easily would have been the game of the week, but I think I got to say LSU wins. I think LSU is definitely the better team going in now. I kind of feel like Florida lost their identity after they lost to South Florida. You kind of lost the luster there. So yeah, I got LSU winning. Anthony, let's move on.
And we move on to the other 7:30 game, and this is the other half of the big double main event. The number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the home opener at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, and they are hosting the number 16 Texas A&M Aggies. This is on NBC. Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, Catherine Tappan will have the game. Notre Dame opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. MF, I know it's only, one game, 2 games, what have you, but in the grand scheme of the college football playoff, it's needless to say, this is a must-win for Notre Dame.
It really is a must-win for Notre Dame because of the fact that they already lost one earlier in the year. They lost to Miami. You can't afford a second loss. A one loss could get you through. Will definitely keep you alive. It'll get you in. If you lose a second, that's almost a death nail for Notre Dame. Because, and I know last couple of years, I think they were undefeated or they had one loss, and they've been able to make it all the way to the end. Where a 2-loss team, it's very, very, very rare for a 2-loss squad to get through to the college football playoff. Now, I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility, but it's definitely, anything can happen. But Notre Dame must win. They have to win. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts about it anymore. They must win this game. I think they will. I think they'll get the job done. The other big announcement I want to say for the TXN crew, Anthony Florio and the Keenans will be working Notre Dame football throughout the season. This is official. I wanted to make this official. Anthony Florio will be on lead commentary, and the Keenan brothers will be with them. I'm thinking maybe Brian being the number 2 behind with Anthony, and then obviously,
Yes, I agree with that.
And Mike will be the sideline guy for Notre Dame, for the Notre Dame football games. That is official. That's also being made today. So we got 3 crews now that'll be working periodically, 1 game a week. Doesn't matter what, if it's a home or away, Notre Dame will be done by Anthony Florio. The SEC, the Big Ten game of the week, whatever that game may be, me and Michael Bullock will be working. And then, like I said, Jake Turner and Austin Slokey will now be doing the SEC game of the week. So now TXN expanding their horizon, adding a little bit of some college football flavor into the weekend schedule. But nothing changes for the NFL. NFL will stay as is. So nothing more to say. Yep. Anthony, it's yours.
And you have Notre Dame winning.
Yes.
Okay. And speaking of our NFL, we do have to talk about that at time permitting after the show. But anyways, Notre Dame's second game of the season could be more difficult than its opener. The 0-1 Fighting Irish will face a tougher defense from Texas A&M and a more mobile quarterback in Marcel Reed. Reed put up 509 passing yards and 105 rushing yards in his first 2 games. Reed's only road win last year occurred at Florida, but he gained plenty of experience in hostile road environments during his first full year as a starting quarterback in the SEC. CJ Carr displayed plenty of positive signs in his Notre Dame debut, but he did not have a week 2 game to work on his flaws from the opener. The lack of a game in between the Miami loss and the A&M game might hurt the Irish because they could still be cleaning up some errors. The X factor is Jeremiah Love's volume in the Notre Dame rushing attack. He was non-existent against Miami. If he can get going, the Irish can pull away. However, A&M's defense is typically strong, and Marcel Reed can cause a whole lot of problems to the Notre Dame defense with his arm and legs. But this is a prove-it game for both programs. Texas A&M needs a marquee win to solidify an encouraging start, whereas Notre Dame would be in real trouble if a loss to Texas A&M follows the setback to Miami. Notre Dame's physicality won out in the 23-13 win in College Station last year, and I anticipate a repeat in South Bend with a closer score. Notre Dame ekes it out. My final score, 23-20, Notre Dame squeaks by Texas A&M. Should be a fantastic game. We got 2 games left, and we move on to our next matchup, a 7:45 kickoff over on the SEC Network. The number 11 South Carolina Gamecocks at home at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, welcoming the Commodores of Vanderbilt. In this game over on the SEC Network. And on the call for this game, it's the A-team, Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik. South Carolina opening up as only a 3-point favorite. And that's all. Just 3. So I got to go with South Carolina. Panic is a strong word, but a sluggish win over South Carolina State has sparked a wave of concern about South Carolina. If this matchup had South Carolina at Vanderbilt, I would honestly take Vandy in an upset. But with the game being in South Carolina, being in Columbia, I have to give the edge to South Carolina because Williams-Brice is a tough place to win. So I think South Carolina will win. I think they'll theme of the night, eke it out. Vandy, they're not the doormats that they once were. Vandy has got a sneaky good team, and they will give South Carolina some fits. But I think South Carolina will just pull it out here. 24 to 20. South Carolina barely gets by Vandy. And it's only because of that home field advantage. Because MF, if this game was in Vandy, I would have called for a Vandy upset.
And it's very possible. And Vandy has been known to pull an upset or two along the way. So yeah, would I be shocked if that happened? No. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with your sentiment. South Carolina wins, but not convinced. So one game to go. Let's get right into it.
And it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and it's over on the CBS Sports Network. The number 20 Utah Utes on the road against the Wyoming Cowboys. Jonah Field at War Memorial Stadium in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The alma mater of one J.A. 17, by the way. He played his college ball in Wyoming. Mm-hmm. So it's number 20 Utah at Wyoming, 8 p.m. on the CBS Sports Network. Rich Waltz and Robert Turbin will be on the call. And Utah opening up as a 23.5-point favorite. MF, your thoughts on our final game of the week, number 20 Utah at Wyoming.
I got to give Utah the favorite. I think Utah's going to win the game. I really got nothing more to say on that one. I just feel like they're the better team, and I think Utah will breeze right through this, no issue. So Utah wins. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the only thing I can say is Utah's defense is a force, and I think they will be a force here. So, and a correction, it's Laramie, Wyoming, not Cheyenne. It's Laramie, Wyoming. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Utah is going to win this one rather handily. 34-10, Utah over Wyoming. And with that, that'll put the bow on this Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night over we'll actually once again right here on the Tone 25 at 10:30 for the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We will recap the Commanders and the Packers, and then we will get into the remaining games of Week number 2, headlined by the rematch of Super Bowl 59 between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Some other good matchups to look forward to as well. Some intriguing matchups, some sleeper matchups to get into as well. So we'll get into that tomorrow. And then Saturday, MF will have it, 10:30, Braves Fan 95. Cerebral Smack Talk. We got TNA Impact. We got Friday Night SmackDown. And MF will have the results of the WWE Worlds Collide. And then we do it all again next Tuesday, as of course. So we'll get into that tomorrow. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, Ridiculously Raw next Tuesday, and of course next week here on College Football Thursday, Week 4 edition. Some of the notable games we'll be addressing next week. South Carolina. How about Syracuse against Clemson in a sleeper matchup? South Carolina against Missouri. Here you go, MF. MF special for you. Florida and Miami. Ho, ho, ho. There you go, MF. Oh, by the way, we're also getting the Civil War. Yeah, the Civil War. Oregon State and Oregon. Mm-hmm. And we've also got Auburn going up against Oklahoma, Michigan against Nebraska, and Illinois against Indiana. Some of the marquee matchups for next week. So that we'll address on this program 1 week from tonight. So with that will do it for this. So until tomorrow night for TXN Sports World NFL Friday Week 2, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock. And of course, always and forever, our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night, for the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, you've been watching the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and streamy.com For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.